Hello, good morning. It's 8 a.m. here in San Diego, where I go live every week on Wednesdays to talk about the opportunities and challenges that come up when you're trying to take a break from alcohol and ditch the booze. I personally just got back from a trip from Oaxaca, so I went for a long weekend, an extended stay in Oaxaca in the south of Mexico, and I got back yesterday. And it was a long day. I went to bed really early yesterday. I went to bed at like 8:30, and then I woke up at 5 a.m. ready to start my day off. I have to say that I love having a break. I love taking like a mini vacation or a vacation and just kind of unplugging and letting go and just relaxing. And then at the same time, when I come back, I also love stepping back into my routine. So I feel completely rejuvenated to like wake up again at 5 a.m., do my thing, do my stuff. So I really love that. I was just at a conference called the High Performance Experience by Brendon Burchard. And there was this question that was amazing. It was this guy named Wahid, and he was like, basically, I do really good for like 2 months, maybe 3 months, and then I fall off the wagon, and then like stress gets in the way, and I just like stop doing the things that I want to do, you know? And Brendon, like everyone expected some kind of answer about, you know, like maybe you're self-sabotaging or you're doubting yourself. And Brendon's like, dude, you just need to take a break. Like we have to incorporate regular breaks into our year in order to, you know, like slow down and stop and let ourselves just be and relax and rest. And maybe that's even a staycation for you, or just like a moment where you completely unplug and you have no to-do list over the weekend. But I think it's so important to do the breaks because I'm back now from mine from Oaxaca. It was an incredible trip. I've really enjoyed the time with my husband and exploring a new place, and we saw so many amazing things. It was so cute down there, honestly, and Mexico is like has its own little hipster vibe. Like there's so many cute brunch spots and lunch places and cute galleries, and we also went to these amazing springs that were like in the middle of nowhere on the hillside. And these springs were like made by almost like calcified, petrified waterfalls. And so like there were these little pools that you could swim in. It was breathtaking. It was beautiful. And I love to say that, you know, if you're looking for more excitement or adventure or just spring in your step, like in life, like you'll never find that in a beverage. You'll find that in the world around you, you know, and it takes a little effort to like put on your hat and want to go explore, but it's so worthwhile to go see the world and let your excitement and zest for life come from the vibrancy around you instead of looking to a drink to make you feel that way. So today, I want to talk about something that usually comes up for a lot of people when they're trying to take a break from alcohol, and that's about liking the taste. They've come to like the taste of alcohol. Like that's a huge reason why they like to drink. So I personally believe that we all have lists, maybe 10 to 20, even 30 reasons why we think we like to drink. And until you discover those reasons and prove to yourself that maybe they're not as true as you think they are, you'll still come to crave alcohol. You will subconsciously crave it. You will want it because you see benefit in it. You see that it brings some kind of benefit to your life. So when you can find each reason why you think you like to drink or you think you enjoy drinking, and then you actually use your experience from maybe a break from alcohol to prove to yourself, hey, that reason's not actually true. Like, this isn't true at all. This isn't my reality. Like, say if you think that drinking relaxes you, you can prove that that's actually not true at all. Scientifically, it's not true at all. Drinking actually makes your body release more stress hormones, and then you wake up with a hangover, and you wake up not having done your to-dos. Like, drinking actually compounds stress, and that's proven. And so when you can prove that to yourself, you can take a statement like, oh, I like to drink because it relaxes me, and say, you know what, that's not actually true at all. And once you start to believe the opposite to be true, drinking stresses me out, drinking brings more stress into my life, drinking does not relax me, then you chip away at that reason for why you like to drink, and you won't find that pull anymore. And you have to do it for each and every reason why you like to drink. So when I was done with all of my reasons, I've completely removed my desires for alcohol. I have no desire ever to drink. Like, I can drink as much as I want to, I just don't want to, because I took the time to introspect deeply and take every single reason why I thought I liked alcohol and flip it on its head. And so today, I really have no desire for it at all. But this takes some work. So let's go over this big reason why a lot of us think we like to drink, and that's because we think we like the taste, right? I mean, alcohol is a beverage. We use it as a treat. We use it as a way to pamper ourselves. We use it as something that we enjoy, like, you know, a piece of cake or something. It's the treat at the end of the day. And so I want to just go over this and kind of debunk this, because this one is a little bit of a hard one, you know, like if someone says they objectively like the taste, who are you to argue with that and say, no, that's not true? But I think that once, you know, you learn a little bit more about what alcohol actually does to your body's response to it and taste buds over time, you'll maybe learn for yourself that this actually isn't fundamentally true either. So let me just start by saying that animals and us humans, before we ever drank alcohol in our lives, did not like the taste of alcohol. So humans and animals have something called self-preservation, right? We want to preserve ourselves as a species. And in doing so, we usually are very averse to anything that will kill us or poison us. So, for example, spoiled milk. Most people don't ever actually go to the hospital because they've drinking too much bad milk in their lives. Because when you open the carton and you maybe pour a little and you try it, the taste of the spoiled milk will stop you right in its tracks. So most people don't actually ingest a ton of spoiled milk because our own system of taste stops us from drinking this stuff. So we have these mechanisms in place to stop us from drinking poisons. And this happens in a lot of kinds of different foods and stuff. So the same thing happens with alcohol. If you've ever had like a drink maybe next to, if you have an animal in your house, like a dog or a cat, I bet you that they don't go near it. I bet you that they don't sniff it, and I bet you like $100 that they never try to drink it. And if you do have an animal that does that, unfortunately, it's been exposed to it too often to like change its tolerance and taste buds. But for the most part, animals will not go near alcohol. They won't taste it because it smells and like poison to them. They know that this is harming their body. And that's how we used to be too. So when you tried alcohol for the first time, you know, unless it was, you know, poured with like Midori and melon and super sugary and super sweet, I bet you that the very first time you ever tried alcohol, it was a little bit of a shock to you. It had a very strong flavor. You were like, oh, whoa, you know, especially if you're really young, between the ages of like, well, whatever, you know, a young age to like 15, it was probably really shocking taste. I remember when I had even just my first beer, I couldn't have half a can of beer. It was too intense. Like it was like gross and strong and like yeasty. It was all imaginable, like not good for me. And then, you know, imagine too, if you were younger and you ever tried a spirit, like maybe in your teenage years, if you ever had a hard alcohol right away, like it's almost like a joke at parties when teenagers try alcohol in the first time like that, because it's so strong, like it's so gross, nobody likes it. And oftentimes when you're younger in your teenage years and you drink for the first few times, oftentimes, like I remember throwing up when I was younger from like 2 drinks. Like my body was not meant to handle it. And it's not just because I was young. It's the first time I was acclimating and getting used to alcohol. And you could see this happen for, you know, say you take a 40-year-old who's never drank. The same thing will happen. So our bodies are trying to protect us from ingesting a poison. And then what happens is basically we're a super acclimated kind of a species. Anything we expose ourselves, we get used to. And you can see that play out in like all the crazy environments humans live in and all the crazy stuff that people eat in different climates. Whatever we expose ourselves to often and often enough, we will get used to and we will come to tolerate. And so this happens with alcohol. So at first the taste is shocking and our body's trying to prevent us from ingesting this stuff. You know, when you have a hangover and you throw up the next day or that night, that is actually your body's way of trying to protect you from poisoning yourself. So alcohol is a poison, your body responds to this and sees this, and animals do too. But over time, we learn to become acclimated to it and we become to tolerate it. So over time, I'm sure that maybe even your own drinking history, maybe you started with stuff that was much lighter, like lighter beers or lighter wines. And then maybe as time went on, like you became more accustomed to the stronger stuff, like strong red wines or even like just whiskey on the rocks and stuff like that. If you give whiskey on the rocks to someone who's never drinking before, they will think it's nasty. They will think it's so disgusting because it takes a really long time to become acclimated and exposed and tolerant of that much harder stuff. Now, if you're used to drinking for years and years and years, whiskey on the rocks might be a little like shocking a little bit to your system, but for the most part, some people come to love it, right? I mean, it has a whole culture around it. It has a sophistication around it. But this has taken a lot of time and a lot of exposure to something that your body fundamentally was always trying to protect you from. So, If you like the taste, I want to just let you know that this is something that has happened over years of getting tolerant and exposed to alcohol. But now what? Now that you have like come to like the taste, and now you miss the taste, and now you're trying not to drink and it's hard because you miss the taste, what do you do? Well, I have two different options for you of moving forward. So one is to just explore that this is probably true, that there is nothing about alcohol that makes it like the most delicious, yummy thing. It's because we've come to become acclimated to the taste and exposed to it that we've come to like it. But what you can really do is explore the world of non-alcoholic drinks. So if you love the taste of red wine, or you love the taste of beer, or even you love the taste of spirits, almost every single alcohol exists in a non-alcoholic fashion. And if liking the taste is something that's going to prevent you from reaching more alcohol-free days, like, I think it's crazy that people deprive themselves and don't actually go for the non-alcoholic options. So if you're craving a beer, go get a non-alcoholic beer. If you're craving a red wine, go get a non-alcoholic red wine. If you're craving like an old-fashioned, they actually make non-alcoholic whiskey that you can mix with some orange peels and like a tea and like make a really yummy drink out of it. And I'm not trying to say that like you should become dependent on these drinks or anything like that, but they exist out there because the market's exploding and people want more options, and there's so many out there now to choose from. I often see people who are within their first 30 days of alcohol struggle and then fall off the wagon because they miss the taste and they don't have any options. And so I think it's almost like silly to not go explore the options. Now, if you find that some of these are too close to home, then that's completely fine and that's personal and you need to decide that for yourself. So I'm not trying to say that this method works for everyone, but for the most part, feeling deprived sucks. And letting yourself have exactly what you're craving, only in a non-alcoholic fashion, can really help you. And it doesn't even have to be like a non-alcoholic version. For example, I've come to love these drinks that Trader Joe's has. They're called seltzer water with sparkling juice, I believe. And they're these cute little drinks that have like, they're sparkling water mixed with fruit puree. So my favorite one is called lemon ginger. And it's super low in sugar. All of them are like 10 calories each. And it's this zesty, like gingery drink, pretty low in sugar, but like just enough like hint of sweetness to like not be this like weird sour drink. And I love it. Like, I love these kinds of drinks. Spindrift is another example of like a super easy, like yummy drink that's like made for kids. You know what I mean? These aren't non-alcoholic versions of a mocktail or something like that. These are just beverages that are out there on the market. San Pellegrino sparkling juices is another really great option. And there's so many. There's Groovy out there makes this like Prosecco that's not a non-alcoholic wine, but rather a blend of juices. So it's just their own mix of juices that's a little bit more sour and a little bit more tart. So it's not like as a kiddie like grape juice. So let yourself explore the world of non-alcoholic drinks. And I think that you'll find that when you do crave the taste and you do miss the taste, there's no reason to go and like drop all of your goals for more health and happiness and success. Just drink a different beverage. Just find something that you like to drink and keep finding and keep exploring. I think it's really fun to do that. The next thing I would even offer is that if you are maybe around 60 to 100 days already on a break from alcohol and you still fundamentally believe that you love the taste, say a red wine. Now, I only recommend this if you are already way over the hump of like cravings, way over the hump of most limiting beliefs that you have around alcohol, way over the hump of even like wanting it in your life, but you still have this one belief left that you love the taste. I would take, not a beer, but I would take a little bit of wine next time your partner has a little bit of wine, or you know, your friend or somewhere, and put just a drop on your tongue. If you've already had 60 to 100 days without alcohol, your taste buds have completely rebalanced. Your tolerance is completely like gone back to normal. The alcohol, the ethanol part of that little drop of wine will taste so shocking to you. It's crazy. You might be able to discern a hint of those flavors that you thought you liked, but you can't really, because first of all, you'll get this crazy shock of just like burning alcohol on your tongue. It's literally insane. Like the drinks that we thought we loved, when you take a break from alcohol, they are no longer appealing. Our bodies has rebalanced almost to like your childhood state. And those drinks become just as like strong and powerful and like almost disgustingly like antiseptic is the word I would use. It tastes like antiseptic. And then you can actually debunk for yourself, wow, I don't enjoy red wine anymore. It actually tastes like rubbing alcohol. And that's not that great and yummy of a drink, is it? So If you're already over the hump of, like, say 60, maybe 100 days without alcohol, you've already uncovered all your a lot of limiting beliefs, you feel very strong in your alcohol-free path, but you still believe that you do still crave and miss the taste of alcohol, put a drop of red wine on your tongue, and I bet you will find it tastes like rubbing alcohol, and you will once and for all say, wow, I don't actually miss the taste anymore. I don't miss it at all. This tastes disgusting. And then you might find that you actually enjoy the non-alcoholic versions way better because they still have that taste that you've come to like without the rubbing alcohol flavor. So to me today, there's not as much variety clearly in non-alcoholic red wines, but to me, I like them so much better with my meals and with, say, if I'm going to like a wine dinner party. I prefer it so much better than I ever did to wine because, like, I can actually enjoy those flavors without that rubbing alcohol taste, without like getting a buzz, without getting my mind becoming mindless and getting carried away from me. I can just enjoy the beverage for what it is instead of it robbing stuff of me and also like creating this mechanism where I just start craving more drinks. It's beautiful. I love it. It's amazing. So if you find, though, that these things are too close to home, I'm putting in a cautionary disclosure. Do not go for non-alcoholic drinks if you don't think that they're for you, and if you definitely think that a drop of red wine would actually make you completely want to drink a glass, don't do that either. So I'm just offering this as if you're way past the point where you crave and want alcohol and you just want to revisit the idea that you like the taste of red wine. I bet you don't. So I hope this was helpful, and I just want to reiterate that, we've all become accustomed to like the taste of alcohol, but truly from the outset, most humans and most animals do not, because it is a poison, and we have mechanisms in our body to prevent us from drinking stuff like that. And I also want you to thank your body, because when, you throw up and when you are literally throwing up and not feeling well, that is your body protecting you from poisoning itself. And that is a beautiful thing that happens, because if it wasn't for that, we would have all not been here today, because I'm sure we've all thrown up from alcohol and we've all had this body that protects us and wants to self-preserve and wants us to love on it. And I'm so grateful that we now have the opportunity to love it back instead of continuing to poison it and having it work on overdrive all the time by detoxifying this poison. We now can love it back by taking a break from alcohol and uncovering all these mindset beliefs that we have from the society around us that tells us drinking is amazing. Because when you really take a curious, critical eye, it's really not. And you can prove that to yourself, and you will be so much freer and happier when you do. So thank you so much for joining. Feel free to ask me any question you might have about, removing your own desires from alcohol, taking a break, going through any challenge and navigating a sober lifestyle, or even just the amazing opportunities that open up. I love to talk about those too and really discuss the phenomenon, because it's truly amazing, life-changing, and that's why I do what I do, because I love this work so much. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you. Join me next Wednesday at 8 a.m. and please feel free to submit any questions via DM or message me on email or Facebook comments. I read them all, so thank you again.